Hello and welcome to another stream here on the channel. My name is Ratfinkleton. And we're here for another night of Minecraft adventures. Hope we're all doing well tonight. We're focusing on a world that has been little covered on this channel. It's my most recent world. The reason it hasn't been covered too much is, let's be frank, it's because I've been working more. I have a job as a restaurant manager. I've been focusing on that. The schedule has been really nasty for me the last, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months. So really have not had time to highlight the current world or really to contribute to the current world, but it is an extensive world. It's been developed pretty heavily. I put a lot into it. Friends have put a decent amount into it. It's not the most robust multiplayer world, I would say, that I've ever had, but as far as my single player contribution, I can say it's pretty decent so far. I've been on this world active for quite some time. I would say at least a year, um, potentially over a year, but I could not tell you the exact date. I'd have to do a little research, personal research on that to give you a concrete answer on how long I've been here. But I would say there's quite a bit of AFK time here, quite a bit more so than other realm worlds that I've done similar types of streaming on. Those who are familiar with K2 and Sand Crucible, this world is no K2 and is no Sand Crucible. So, but hopefully it will be one day. And currently, it is not looking half bad itself. So today I'm gonna take you on a walk through my contributions to this particular seed. Take you to the different bases that I have, hopefully all of them, at least most of them, and show you what I've done here. So here we are at spawn. This particular installation was put in place by somebody else. I'm not really sure who. I'm pretty sure it's my friend Brooke, but honestly, I could not tell you. All I know is I stumbled upon it and quickly incorporated it into the framework of what I call the Nomad's Highway on this world, which is the road that essentially leads from here out to the different bases that I have that are strung along a constant specific path line. So here you can see the portal on the tree. Left it there, of course, without any direction or anything. Sorry, not direction, I mean decoration or anything. So this leads into the negative Z, this path right here. It's pretty crude, but it's there. This path comes down here. To the spawn hangout, which I'm going to take this. And then continues up this way. To a dock. This dock will take you on a variety of waterways, stretching out into this sort of oak birch biome. It eventually ends, at which point there's no dock yet. There's no true development. That is the end of the line. This is the beginning of something special. Here we come down to the spawn hangout area, the spawn fishing dock thing. I suppose this is where we should put our first There's something else I forgot to mention about this little excursion that I'm going to take you on. I'm going to be doing something while I'm here with you. I'm going to be adding things. And not just any things. Signs and little bitty decorations. So here we're going to add a sign. Oh. Okay, it won't. Forgot signs don't work like that. Okay. Alright, this is going to be an easy sign to make. We're headed towards the lands of Brethil, which is the home of Vinevale, the first base that we're headed to. Um, Alright. Okay, perfect. Not super specific, but again, you at least know there's something this way. Here we go. We can see the sun setting, so we're gonna sleep pretty soon. But this little footpath here stretches pretty far into the distance. We're on a journey to find the first base on this world. I initially chose this seed because I was looking for some sort of really good stuff at spawn, and I was resetting like an absolute animal to get something striking, kind of like on initial spawn. I was feeling lazy. Generally, I go out really far in multiplayer settings to create some fun for my friends to get out to me and also to feel like I'm like isolated, which is for some reason just a good feeling in a game like this where anybody can influence your builds and mess stuff up potentially. Even though it's my world, I really generally let people do whatever they want as long as they don't grief or steal, but that doesn't mean people won't. So it's fun to go out, it offers security, and if you're, you know, I don't know, if you're messing with people or whatever, you want to make it fun, you can go out real far and your friends can try to find you in some way. Now with the locator bar, it's pretty much a moot point, because these guys can just find you, and they'll just follow this thing until they get to you, you know? I think you might be able to disable it, I'm not really sure. Or if it's an individualized setting, I'm not exactly 100% sure on that, but one of the things I want to do when I get to Vinevale is place this sign. This banner, it's a banner from the base after Vinevale, which is called Marsh Haven. And I just developed these signs. I want to plant one of them at Vinevale and kind of put a sign next to it. So it is the Mothmire Crest, named for the biome, named for the region of Minecraft that it exists in, called the Mothmire, which is a mangrove biome that we'll eventually visit on this tour. Right now we're just making our way through this plains biome. We're headed into a little more of an elevated area, as you can see. Cherry blossoms stretch behind us, looking absolutely gorgeous. Oh, you can hear a skeleton down there. When I first came on this world, like I was saying before, I found this cherry biome. That's what kept me here. I followed this all the way this way. popped down this ravine, went up this way. This path is essentially more or less mirroring the direction I could have gone if I didn't use those little mountains to travel. And it's the path I bring you on today. Essentially the path of least resistance until this part, which is quite a bit springy, but it is what it is. We can do with a little hop. We have potatoes for it. It's fine. Could use a jump boost beacon, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers, I guess. Oh, well. As far as placing signs, I already seen one. I actually forget what I put on this. Nomad's Highway, Lands of Brethil, yep. We're still on the right path. So we're approaching, as you can see, like a frosty mountain biome. I don't know exactly what the type of biome is. I think it's like Snowy Ridge or like something like that right there. And then on top, I'm not sure what it would be, but... Alright, where is the... Here we go. Blew right past this. This river is essentially the crossover into the lands of Brethil. The lands of Brethil are named for an actual region in Lord of the Rings. It's a mountainous area with birch, oak, spruce, a little bit of spruce. Once we come down into Vine Vale, we're essentially in a oak plains biome in the middle of mountain peaks and snowy mountain biomes. So, and right now we're at the initial crossroads in the lands of Brethil. You can take one of two paths. You can take the Glittering Caves road, or you can take the Rosicrucian road. So, from an outside observer's perspective, when you come into this, like, initial area, it starts to look different than just, like, this cobblestone noob path. It starts to look slightly more stylized, and you have two differentiating areas you can go. I'm going to tell you right now, this is slightly shorter this way, but this is slightly more interesting. And you wouldn't know that. You're just going to pick one and go with it, right? If you don't know, it doesn't tell you where you're going. I don't tell you you're going to Vine Vale, but I probably should. I'm at least going to put it down this path. Actually, you know what? I don't really want to toy with people. So, they're both the way to Vine Vale, but this actually goes to the Glittering Caves. I'll just specify that this goes to Vine Vale. And as you can see, I added blue dye to this a while ago. Let's see if it fits. It does. Wait, let's see. It does, for real. Okay, let's take the Rosicrucian road. The Glittering Caves, literally, it follows a similar path like this, and then it goes through this mountain right here. Goes through a cave system, and ends up in Vine Vale. It is a, directionally speaking, slightly more direct route, but I think this might be a shorter distance traveled. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, I prefer this road just because it's slightly more open feeling, and I like having space in this game, but it really could potentially be the Glittering Caves road that is better. Anyway, as you can see, we've moved into like a highland spruce biome here, and this quickly changes into like an oak birch biome, just like a woodland. I forget what it's called. I think it's like a woodland biome or something. Just like your generic oak and birch mix. And we're deep in the lands of Brethil now, of course. Our elevation is fairly high currently. We're at 93, so, you know, by any stretch of the imagination, we're like up in the altitude here in Minecraft. Yep. So this sign might have to change just because this sign was added before I added this path, so it kind of makes it sound like this is the Rosicrucian Road. I'm gonna have to edit that. This is more clear about where to go, for sure. Anyway, this is Vinevale. Welcome. This is my refuge in the mountains. It's fantastic here. I spent probably half a year here, I'd say. Um, close to or about something like that. Maybe more. I'm not really sure, but um, it's a village I built quite a while ago as my home. Expanded it, beautified it over time. It's become as an entirely self-sufficient community of villagers and dogs, and cool buildings with their own little interesting quirks and uses. For instance, the supplier's nook is where I keep all my stuff here in Vinevale. The stable is not a building, it is an underground area right here. No signage, no nothing, just a hole in the ground that you can enter, and inside which you can claim a mount for yourself. We prefer you not come in here and just take things. You can ask to borrow somebody. Francois is literally my only camel on any of my bases here on the world. So, which I forgot kind of for a while, but Francois, it's good to see you, old buddy, you know? Francois is imported, of course. As you can see, we are in a cold biome. You're probably asking yourself, where did Francois come from? Francois came from like 3 or 4,000 blocks away, and it was not an easy journey for Francois, but he ended up here alive. Unfortunately, Francois does not have a mate, but, maybe, I don't know, at some point in the future that will change, who knows. Currently, attaining and breeding camels is not on the top of my to-do list here in this realm world, but you never know in the future, I guess. 30-second intermission while I go check chicken in the oven. I'll be right back. Chicken still needs a bit, and I put in noodles, which can sit for a little bit if they need to. Alrighty. Anyway, Vinevale, here we are. I've got a smeltery right there. There's a wizard's tower right here, which was built by a friend. Supplier's nook. This is like the traveler's lodge or whatever I called it. Orienteer's studio, where you can get like all sorts of saddles and boats, and there's a bunk area up there. All things alchemical, where you can visit Falanu Halalu, our resident cleric villager, and the only true free resident of this place. And by free, I'll show you in a moment, but yeah, Falanu Halalu is an indispensable part of Vinevale. You can trade zombie flesh to him, of course, and all sorts of things. He's a master level trader. He's got a pretty decent trade for enchanted bottles and all sorts of things, so good man. Good man, and all you need to do is push him around a little bit and he'll go to sleep and reset his trades. Otherwise, he kind of stays stuck. For some reason, his pathing is like weird and messed up. Anyway, I guess I'll place this banner in the community center just because this is kind of like where you put this sort of thing. So, see, I'll put it right here. Alright. Oh, no, not right there. Cool. And, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna label it. I know what it is. For other people, though. But I don't have the wood on me. A real G would go get it, though. Right now. Darkness has fallen on the lands of Brethil and Marshhaven. Or, Vinevale. I'm going to get a little wood just to make a sign to specify what. Oh, what's up here, duh. Okay. Yeah, just a couple. Nothing crazy. And then I'll put the rest back. Okay, here we are. Oh, no. We're moving. We're moving. So, when I first built Vinevale, I had no villagers here, so I built all kinds of fun little job blocks everywhere, and then eventually we put in villagers, and it was only a couple, so I kept all the job blocks here, wasn't worried about breeding or anything like that, was content to like have the villagers I had to trade with, and then once I expanded the villager area, I really needed to focus on that element. So I needed to get rid of all the job blocks here to make sure that iron golems weren't spawning in the valley down there and stuff like that. Of course. So, by the way, this is a giant shadow community hall, so this is like where you can play music, hang out, and then there are villagers down here. Some very important villagers, honestly. So, like, this is like a critical spot. In the base, they're not allowed up, of course, but I am allowed to come up and down and deal with them as I need to. There's a reduced cost mending villager down there. That's quite cheap. I think he's like 7 or something. Lovely. This is Mist Manor. So this is like the, you know, player house in Vinevale. Essentially, this was my home and still is one of my homes. Here we have a little map of Vinevale, so you can see even the outskirts of Vinevale. As there are some lovely pictures and all that. Memories from my travels. Such things as they are. And then down here we have our enchanting area with various hidden rooms that harbor different rare items. I belong to Vinevale and therefore remain here in perpetuity. Various rare things from past exploits that have since been forgotten, but the items sometimes give me glimmers. One of my old friends, Mr. Biscuits, my first real dog here on the world. Wrathflame, one of my first actual diamond swords. One of my first, like, decently made enchanted diamond swords. And then a locator map of the lands of Brethil, which I'm going to update briefly. Let's take a rest here real quick. Lovely. I'm drinking a blood orange caipirinha right now, essentially. It's fantastic. Well, with coconut. It's like a tropical version. I don't know. It's weird. And I'm absolutely inhaling cereal milk right now. So not only do we have traditional buildings, we have different farm areas. We have like the animal pens out here on the outskirts. There's a little cactus area over here on this outskirt. This is kind of like the designated smoke and chill area back here where you can gather with your friends, talk about business, talk about what you're gonna do, hang out AFK for a second. Honestly, it's quite safe here with between the bamboo screen, the wall, and the tree cover. You really can't get hit or touched by anything. Even phantoms won't come down there. Cacti, and then lately this became a little bit of a side storage area for these sorts of newer, like foresty blocks that they put in. The Frost Karst Tunnel is going to be our ultimate destination here in Vinevale, and is going to lead us to the next stage of our journey. This is going to take us to the Nordland, which is a snowy spruce area that leads into the next biome down the Nomads Highway, which is essentially what this is. This is the next step on the Nomads Highway through Vinevale. Vinevale being a checkpoint or a, you know, waypoint destination on the Nomads Highway. Obviously, we're not, I mean, we could theoretically have made the Nomads Highway go directly over this mountain range, but these mountains are multifaceted and complex, and the tops of these mountains span a fairly wide distance and include a lot of powdered snow, so logistically speaking, it would not have been fun. It would not have yielded... It would have eventually yielded good results, but honestly, you know, that's a project for another day. The Frost Karst Tunnel is an interesting concept because of the name and because of what it does visually for the traveler having traveled overworld ostensibly for 1,300 blocks or more to get here. You know, it really looks cool fading into the distance, a sense of transition. So the villager area has a railway that leads from there to this auxiliary villager area, which I showed you underneath Giant Shadow Community Hall. And here we have a dual sugarcane and bamboo farm that is automatic. It's not super quick, but it's good for just setting and forgetting. And as you can see here, we have some sugarcane, which we can collect just a little bit of, and leave the rest. And that's just from, I don't even remember when that's from, to be honest. I can't remember the last time I AFK'd significantly here, and that's for the slow farm that's down there, that's a significant quantity, so must have been here for a while, AFK. But anyway, I think it's fitting if we just do this real quick. Set some music. I've always thought that Mall was a very appropriate disc for this town. It's a highland town. It's sparsely populated. You know, there's many animals. There's moss particles, growth, beauty in the vegetation everywhere. It's not like, you know, straight streets and stuff. It's these little footpaths everywhere, and that's part of the charm of this town. And as we come up from Vinevale, past the husbandry area, and further into the highlands, we can really get an idea for how vegetated and how protected Vinevale feels and looks. You can't even see down into the center of it from really anywhere, I'm gonna tell you right now, except from like directly above via Elytra. It's, you know, phantoms have a hard time negotiating this type of area. They get really pissed off and hung up on things and confused. I rarely have a zombie, let alone a creeper, spawn around in here and like mess things up. Can't remember the last time I had to put Vinevale back together. It's been ages. I mean, like, ages. Anyway, let's continue our mission here to show ourselves and you, the viewer, the rest of this world. Because I worked on Vinevale for quite some time. Spent a lot of time there, and I still go back there. There's a really efficient zombie farm back there that belongs to a friend, which I continue to oversee as even recently. We all go back there. Anybody that's on this realm, we all go back there for XP to this day. It's the best farm. And then the villagers back there are well developed, and there's quite a few of them. And the farm is secure, built into the mountainside there, in the lands of Brethil next to Vinevale. It's accessed via a bridge, which also leads you to the Nether portal, which will take you to the Nether highway that goes to any of the destinations you're about to go. So now we need to do something, which I didn't think about. Nope, not that. Here we go. First I need to, of course, name all of these shulkers when we get back, I guess, but the boots of the Sundering Titan are called so because we need to put them on in order to travel. They're good for a couple things, the primary of which is that they're good for running over powdered snow. This trail looks kind of friendly because of the cobblestone and all that, but as you walk down it, you realize it's actually not like a full path. There's a key to this path. You need leather boots. So it's, I wouldn't call it a barrier to entry, but for the first time Minecrafter perhaps, or the even the seasoned veteran who doesn't really know what kind of biome they're getting into just yet, it's either a surprise, a casual surprise in Minecraft, or it could be like a learning experience for a first time Minecrafter, or like newer Minecrafter who's never experienced patterned snow or something. And they have to like overcome that challenge or whatever. We're going over this snowy spruce gorge kind of party. Not gonna lie. And at this point, we're almost out of the lands of Brethil. We're on like the very edges. And once we board our boat down here and depart this place, we're truly gonna be out of them. I mean, we have nothing to do with that out there, Here we go. From here, the Nomad's Highway kind of is mostly water. There's a couple portage areas where we have to get off and travel by foot briefly, or actually maybe just one specific area that we have to do that, but other than that, seems like dark is hitting. It'll be okay for us. We'll be fine. We'll just travel through the night. Here we are, out in the open. I'm gonna have to take a break kind of soon to check on the chicken again in the oven, but for now I'd say we're fine. It's pre-cooked, but I think I should still get it up to 160 fat. Alright, here we have our first bamboo block marker, which is the marker that I silently use to indicate where you need to go. There's no signage here. I think maybe I put a sign here, right? So there's this little island that will afford me some cover from the zombarinos, because I'll have to wade across. Die, okay. Alright, so the indicator's right there. I really do want to have my bow out right now. There we go. Vapor Fire Fang is a pretty decent bow, I'm not gonna lie. Ah, son of a gun. Controller drift. There we go. Alright, I see no harm in going to bed right now. There's no glory in getting jacked up all the time while I'm trying to do this. Yeah, you guys can go to heck. Oh. Oh yeah, that's right, it's not, I'm silly. Just put that right there. I'm gonna get run up on. Hopefully not. No. Okay, I'd say that's pretty pretty succinct. Shows that the Nomad's Highway extends this way and not so much that way or whatever as well, which is nice. I'm not gonna put anything right here, especially because from here you can see that there's a fence post thing, a fence thing over there. Okay. We didn't do anything else right here. I do want to make some bone meal soon. Not gonna need these anymore. I don't have a lighter on me. But placing candles is not a critical thing for me at this current moment, honestly. Alright, break to check chicken real quick. Alright, I should probably get to Marsh Haven as quick as possible so I can eat and go to bed because it's very late. Very, very late. I need to work tomorrow. Alright, so I guess, there's no directions about what to do on the Nomad's Highway or like how to follow it, what to look for. So it kind of provides a barrier to entry in some respects because you have to, in part, get lucky as a newcomer. And also, you also have to be, really conscious of your, directions and stuff. And, for instance, this is here, right? It's lit up at night. You can see it clearly, kind of see it in the distance and go towards it and see it. And be like, oh yeah, this is a bamboo block like I've seen before. Daytime it's harder to see, I feel like, and then you're out here in Minecraft, right? So I pass this marker, where the hell do I go now? So in some respects, unless you get lucky, unless you just kind of go blindly straight from these markers, like you say, where do I think they're leading me? You see, the Z coordinate ticking down still, where you are on your X, this is probably the way. I don't know how you'd find this if you didn't have, a definitive guide or something. But if you get lucky enough to end up in this general area, you come to this point where you hit the mangroves. So there's a dock faintly visible on the right here you can head towards with some kind of obvious dark oak. There's this area, which we're going to go to, which it's not super apparent from here, again. that this area is where to go. But if you happen to go this way as a newcomer, you might notice that bamboo block over there. And then when you get closer, you realize that this is lit up. There's a bamboo block over here as well. And melt this. Let's do this. We are almost at this joint. The Mothmire is I would call it like a small to medium-sized mangrove biome. It's not super huge, which is kind of why I chose it. It was like approachable, and I didn't need much. It's on the way from spawn. I created a highway to it, called it the No Man's Highway. I want to continue it on. Been looking for places to take this highway, but for now it just extends just beyond this biome through this estuary right here. Right now you can start to see the walkways that make up the outskirts of Marsh Haven and lead you to the different areas of the Mothmire. I'm not the only one that has residency here, but I am the primary resident and the sole proprietor, builder, and maintainer, as well as resident of Marsh Haven, which is where we're about to end up. So as you can see, there's a dock here. I'm also picking up some mob items, it seems. What was that? Okay, interesting. From a kill here that was never reaped. There you go, you heard it first here. Welcome to Marsh Haven. This is my current base on this world. It's a beautiful place. There's a skeleton horse cave down here below this tower. This is my storage area. I hang out here mostly when I'm here. there's a pretty cool kind of like forge and crafting area right here, which is a building with a path in the middle. That's fun. And then a couple more buildings with no functionality yet down this line, with a beacon in the middle. Mine underneath. I love this place. I think it's got a lot of charm. I'm still working on expanding the Mothmire with a couple friends who have bases nearby here, but for now, this is my home. I have a lot of fun here. And as you can hear, I'm getting tired, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to end the stream. I'm gonna have to eat and then go to bed. Thanks for listening. If you're my future self, hi. Miss you. Hope you're doing good. Or whatever. And I'll talk to you later. You guys have a good night.